It is mid-August, one of the hottest days of the year. It's August 18th. Temperature humidity index is supposed to be 110 in the sun today. This is my side yard, and it's starting to take shape a little bit more. I'm not sure what this is. It's from a neighbor. This has just started growing. It's starting to come out. I'll cut that back a little bit more. I'm not even sure. I think that's oxalis or something. This is the baby blue eyes grass that I cut from the side. And I'm going to bring the other one over here too. Now that I see this will grow, and it is a favorable environment here, I'm going to put this, a bunch of those blue-eyed grasses that'll bloom in the spring. I've got New Zealand spinach, and I'm definitely going to do New Zealand spinach again. The Malabar spinach, however, sadly, is just foliage this year. This is going to get turned into this bed as compost, and I will never have Malabar again. I like it, but I like the flavor, but it's a little earthy, and it gets a little slimy. If you put a lot of it in a smoothie, it turns slimy, and I don't like that. The New Zealand spinach, however, rocks it. Stuff's doing pretty good. Seems to like the heat, although it hasn't liked 110. Onions are coming back, so it's good to see that. They're all coming back there. Got another onion coming up over here. And these will kind of just protect the bed this year. Not sure if this onion's going to come back. It looks like it will. So that's what I got going on here. Also, I've got an artichoke here, right here. I'm just keeping it there for now. This is going to go up front in the front yard, right up on the border, actually. Just in September. The sage has just started turning a few days ago. I think this is a Silverado Texas sage or an Eldorado Texas sage. It is one of the more silver ones, and I just love that contrast. This has got to be the only pink flower that I like. As I say that, there's a pink flower in the background. I keep that just because it was my very first ever native flower that I ever bought ever. So I took a cutting of it and I put it here. The Verbena is doing pretty well, although one of them's not really liking it. I don't know if I overwatered it. I gave it extra water. I thought maybe it needed it. Clearly it didn't. You can see the Lantana starting to come out. The Blackfoot Daisy made it. So the deer really plucked off the Blackfoot Daisy at first, but it's starting to make it. This right here is going to be changed next year because right now it's just long and overgrown, and I never mow it, and it's bluebonnets. So I need to put something here next year instead, or after the bluebonnets, because it just looks terrible right now. I love the sensitive briar. It's here. I have done no maintenance. I haven't done any mowing. I haven't done anything. You can see there's some weeds growing up in the middle. That's what I'm going to do today and tomorrow, is get those guys out of here because that's not happening. The purple coneflower, man, they're just struggling along. I don't know if they're ever going to make it here. Now that this thing is so big, they're just so small and they can't get any sun. So they're just kind of leggy. The Australian Bottlebrush is doing amazing. And you know, north is that way. That is due north. So it's got quite a bit of a screen there, these two trees. And last year it went down to 19 degrees and didn't bite these guys. So 19 degrees for 24 hours. That's pretty cold for a tropical. The Lantana bounced right back, no duh. These guys rock, and they bring in a lot of butterflies. There was a fifth Lantana here. If you remember last year, it was right here, but it was getting overgrown by these guys. It's over there now. As you can see, it looks a lot better up there, that yellow one. And that's a nice view right there. I just like the flowers, and in the spring, this will be lit up. This is about to turn into a incredible butterfly garden. You can see this is the Esperanza yellow bells, but it's the red version. It's almost like a double bells. I mean, look at that. Double bells on there. There's so many of them. It's really hot out here, and I'm never out here watching the hummingbirds, but I'd be willing to bet they go here. I do have hummingbirds all over the yard. This I just put in. These are tropical milkweeds. Normally I would not put something in August, but this is a native. I gave it good soil. I put good mulch around it, and it was on sale. So there you have it. But I was planning on putting this here regardless. I had thought about putting some blue stuff here, but I just really like this butterfly attractant right here with the milkweed. And I needed to put the milkweed over here, and I ran out of room. because I put the artichokes back here. So I was definitely going to put milkweed. There's no doubt about that. So I had to put it right here. The Russian sage is, meh, it's okay. I really like this plant. I'm just not so sure it likes me or it likes it here. When I see these in Chicago, they're huge plants, but that's in Chicago. It's supposed to be a desert plant. I don't know. It's kind of small. Technically, this would be considered a second-year plant because I transplanted it, but so I guess it would technically be considered a second-year plant. So I'm hoping for big things next year. We'll see, and maybe even this fall. You can see there's a lot of growth on it. There's a lot of new growth on it. So I don't know. It's just growing really a lot slower than I thought. And my Russian sages usually get twice this big, so I don't understand what's going on. This is sage, Salvia gregae, and 2 mountain laurels. The mountain laurels are getting bigger, although this back one he's been in shock for a year or so. He's coming out of it. You can definitely see. This is only a second-year plant, and you can definitely see he's starting to come out. There's a lot more new growth coming off of this. You can see there was some eaten by the webworms, which I tried to keep control of. But, you know, ultimately, this whole side died. And I brought it with 3 branches. So there was only 1 branch alive, and now it's starting to come back from that. So technically, it should be a lot bigger. It should be this size right here. But whatever, like, imagine half of it dead. And then here is the crowning achievement. So I think, oh, this is a volunteer. It is some sort of oak. I'm not sure what sort of oak, but I just put some rocks around it, and this would be a good place for a replacement tree. If I was going to plant a replacement tree, you know, judging from the other trees that are up here, this is where I would do it. In this area, you know, maybe a little bit over there, but this is close enough. That's how it would grow in a forest, or actually in a forest it would grow closer. So I'm going to let it grow. It's a first-year tree, and it made it through the summer. I would say made it. It's the hottest part of the summer right now. And it still looks like it's kicking. A little bit of scald on there. You can see the scald, but those new leaves are kicking it. So yeah, my artichokes. I'm super excited about this. Artichoke, artichoke, artichoke. Trying to put my hand in the camera. Artichoke and artichoke. So I've got 5 of them over here, which should be plenty. The one year we had 3 of them, only 2 flowered. So this is more than double. And we really like them. So this should be plenty and enable us to possibly give some away. Again, this is only for our personal use, so I'm not really concerned about having more, though if I want more, I would probably go this way. I would probably take out this sage, right, this Russian sage, and put one right here, because when this is dormant and this is dormant, this would be growing. So if I wanted 6, that's where I'll go with it. However, it just doesn't get enough sun. I had these all over my yard in different areas last year. I had one in this side little garden over here, and I had several in the front yard. I had one in a pot right over here. So I've had them in different locations, and what I noticed is it'll grow, but if it doesn't get enough sun, it won't bloom. It is a very vigorous plant. It'll still grow very thick, but it'll just be low, and it won't produce fruit. So right now it's about 11 o'clock, and you can see where the sun line is. Now in winter, the sun's going to be further this way, so it'll be down lower. So the sun would be shining here right now, and it would get sun from about 10 until about 7 in the winter time, going this way. So it's a little bit better. Plus, these trees are evergreen, but they do thin out a little bit in a cold winter. So and again, these are winter. It's going to come up in the winter. They're dormant right now. But what I noticed is when these go dead in the winter and this goes dead in the winter, I have no structure. And so this was I wanted structure here, and I also had full sun need to replant the artichokes. The deer and the freeze and just everything sucked about having the artichokes in that spot. It was an awesome spot in terms of ornamental placement, but in terms of maintenance, it was very challenging. Just challenging. This is way better. It's a much more private spot. So if I have to come out here late at night and cover these stupid things in a freeze, you know, I can do so without having to get fully dressed and all that sort of stuff. So this is my side garden. I've got more mulch over here. I need to rake this up. I hate working in the summertime. I'd much rather wait until September, just, you know, until it gets below 80 would be great. And so I just haven't raked it yet. It's procrastinating, but you can see there's a bit of mulch here left. I mean, you see my foot scooping that up. There's quite a bit of mulch here that we could put elsewhere, and I do need some more mulch. So this is the side garden. From the back, I've done this with the trees, which is pretty cool. So I dug a hole. That's an 18-inch hole, and you can see it's filled with gravel. I did that so that it would drain. And I'm going to top that with sand and then top it with clay. The clay should stay on top because the clay will bond together, and the sand should just filter down through these rocks, making it just more well drained. And if it ever needs more, I'll just put more on there. I did that to prop up this tree. I lost one here, and these trees are over 100 years old according to the arborists. So what this is it is a native branch. The branch fell over. Here's part of it over here against the fence. There's part of the branch here. It was a really big one, fell over here. So I wanted to make a brace for these, and rather than get a 4x4 and put it in the ground here with a saddle, right, which would look very unnatural, you almost can't tell what, it just looks odd from the street. Like, you almost can't tell that that is a brace from the street. It just looks like part of the tree. I am going to get some leather for it. You can see it's resting on it right now, which is what I wanted. It's a nice tight fit. But I need to get a brace for that, or a leather for that brace. This one over here is the same way. Honestly, I don't know why I'm keeping this little thing right here. I don't know. I have to figure it out. But this is part of the thing that fell down. Actually, this is the end. It's the end that came off over there, and then this is where we cut it to make this first brace. So here's the brace, the second brace. This one's not nearly as snug. This tree is going to put on a lot more weight because I constantly cut this branch, and so I'm anticipating that it will settle nicely into that. You can kind of see the angle. I'm not really, I wish it was a better angle in terms of holding it up stable wise, but if you really look, it will brace it. It's just not gonna hold it if it decides, like if it breaks right here, this thing is going over. If this thing, however, is not going to feel stress right there. The stress is going to be up here because the weight is supported up there. So I'm hoping that this will gain weight and just lean into it. Neighbor left a bunch of succulents here. You see all these guys? You know, they've been here 2 months. Some of these are looking pretty bad, so I'm going to transplant some of these today. And yeah, that's my side yard. It's August. My yard was designed for the heat, and it is kicking it. It's doing really well.